Today's presentation is to go over why we should stop government subsidies for agricultural farmers. My name is Amanda Nelson. I currently attend National American University, and this is for my technical communication course, summer of 2017. Today I will be going over the purpose of my proposal, the intended audience, what research methods I used, a brief background of subsidies on agricultural and farming, my primary research findings, and then my secondary research findings, and then we will review the survey and graph conducted. The purpose of my proposal. Subsidies ensure farmers' incomes are much higher than most Americans. Farm programs are made for the rich, and it induces overproduction, inflates land prices, and harms the environment. In 2018, when the next farm bill is introduced, subsidies should be ended to those farmers who do not produce any products, and American farmers should be held accountable and made to stand on their own 2 feet in the marketplace. The government needs to stop spending $52 billion a year in subsidies, and each farmer who needs to receive subsidies make no more than the average American does. Finally, a law needs to be passed to stop appointment of friends and associates with an interest in agriculture as board members. My intended audience first is the farmers. I wish to educate them on American taxes and what subsidies is doing to the environment. Next is the government. I wish for them to be educated on effective leadership and not to be micromanaging the farmers and subsidies. Next, they need to be made aware of how their choices are harming us economically. Finally, the environmentalist. They need to be educated on subsidies and what it is doing actually to our environment. The research method that I used was the internet. On the internet, I found the Heritage Foundation, the SALT, The Economist, Downsizing the Federal Government, Farm Subsidy 101, and United States Department of Agriculture Economic Research. This is just a brief background on subsidies. The first subsidy program for agriculture was the Morrill Act of 1862. This was established as a land grant for colleges. In the 1920s, the government focused more on statistics, funding research, and pest infestations. Between 1940 and the 1980s, farmers were in a really rough patch, so the Congress increased farm support. The environmentalists take interest in subsidies to seek conservation subsidies. In 2008, Congress overrode President's veto to another farm subsidy that was to increase subsidy wages to farmers. And finally, in 2014, Congress passed a farm bill stating it would save taxpayer money when actually it did the complete opposite to our taxpayers. My primary research findings is that subsidies benefited farmers and cost taxpayers billions of dollars each year. The farmer purposely does not produce crops to receive subsidies. The farmer also grows crops that help subsidies and not what the people actually need. This resulted in less choices for our consumers. It distorts prices in the market, reduces innovation in our farmers, and finally, with heavy government influences over the portion of the American economy, the government is controlling the farmers. My secondary research findings was that the farmer struggling is just a myth and needs to be stopped. A farm household makes 19% higher than all other U.S. households. The average farm household makes $134,000 each year, which is 77% higher than the average American makes. The Environmental Working Group found 4 billionaires receiving subsidies from a Forbes 400 list of wealthy Americans article. Also, too, I found that government imposing restriction of using lands, meaning that they make conservations out of these farmlands, not allowing the farmers to actually produce. The government does not have free trade. The government should promote free trade and remove all barriers between all other countries. Lastly, what I found was that insurance subsidies is the most popular. There are 8 total subsidies. The insurance subsidy outlays over $8 billion to protect its farmers. On top of that, the government pays 60% of the farm premiums. This last slide goes over a surveying graph that I had conducted on 10 random individuals with yes or no answers. The graph below shows questions of number of yeses versus nos. As you can see down below that there's a majority of no's for answers about actually having knowledge of how much the government spends on annual subsidies, knowing anybody who uses agricultural subsidies. Did anybody believe that there were any kind of fairness in receiving subsidies with no product that was produced and receiving a higher income than most Americans? They did not know that. This information on subsidies has not been made known to the public. Subsidies are damaging the economy with the amount of coddling and micromanagement the government has towards the agriculture community. In most industries, the marketplace balances supply and demand, profit steers investments, business takes risks, and entrepreneurs innovate to improve quality and reduce cost. For the U.S. agriculture, it is destabilized, causing a range of economic harm, including overproduction, distorted land use, inaccurate choice of crops, exaggerated land prices, and inadequate cost control. Maybe one of the biggest scandals in regards to farm subsidies is that congressional agriculture committees include members who are active farmers and farmland owners. Those members have a direct financial stake whenever Congress votes to increase subsidies, which is an obvious conflict of interest. This concludes my presentation on stopping government subsidies for agriculture farmers presentation. Thank you.